Welcome to Courageous Conversations with Therese W. Gamble, powered by Concierge Resource Professional Consultants. Courageous Conversations is a diversity, equality, and inclusion initiative. It's a gracious space for meaningful discussions about culture, life, business, work, learn, live, worship, and play.
Today we're going to talk about Black love, about marriage in the African American culture. Today, this is your host, Therese Gamble. I am with my amazing husband of 34 years. It will be July 22nd, 2021. Mr. Earnest Gamble Sr. Hey, honey.
Hello, how you doing, Teresa?
So today we're going to talk about, we have so much to be thankful for and to celebrate for still being married all this time. I've been with him most of my life. I met him when I was 16 in high school. He was a van driver at the church, and we dated for 2.5, almost 3 years, and courted. And after I graduated high school, he proposed to me, and we got married that following year, which was I graduated in 1988. We got married July 22nd, 1989, and we've been together ever since.
Well, actually, it says 1996, so we got to add those years, make sure nobody think we just all of a sudden got hitched, like these people want to get married real fast and put a ring on it. We ain't put no ring on it. We dated a while. I know you said it, but I want to make sure.
Yeah, we dated in
1996.
In 1986.
1986, okay. 1986
is when we started dating until I graduated high school in 1988.
Yeah.
And then we got married a year later, the day before his birthday. So not only July of 2021 is special for us every year. It's our wedding anniversary, which is on July 22nd, and his birthday, July 23rd, so he won't forget our wedding anniversary.
Whatever, we ain't did it for that reason. I don't have to keep you in check about them dates and stuff. So now we just have fun with each other like that.
Yes, we do.
We talk about Black love, and it's just amazing, to think about and contemplate on, the years and stuff, dating and courting and, being engaged and things like that. And then finally, about 2.5 years later, we started raising our family, our first son in 91. And so about 2 years later on, 93, the baby son. And that was it, though,
Yeah, so. we stopped at 2 boys.
Yep.
And they are 29.
Well, the oldest one is 30, and the
youngest
one is 28.
That's right. The
yes.
oldest one just had a birthday in May of this year, so he's 30, and the youngest is 28.
And amazing, we have 2 awesome grandkids, which is our oldest grandson is he's 6, and our youngest granddaughter
she'll be 1 in October.
Be 1 in October. Okay,
yep,
wow. So time is just really moving.
Yeah, she was born during the pandemic, so we already know both of them are going to be special.
And I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
And a lot of times they ask, hey, Ernest and Teresa, how y'all just did it? One of the things I remember I wrote is one of the chapters in one of my books that's coming out pretty shortly or soon, that when 2 history collides.
Yep.
And so when you got 2 families, even though both of us, we grew up in the church, we had 2 different families, but when you had 2 history of people, a generation of people, and you grew up in some different atmosphere of things, and how your family side brought you up, and mine's on as well. But it's just amazing how that our history collided, where we had a lot in common.
Yes, we did. You grew up in a single family home. I grew up in a 2-parent home, but my dad worked all the time, so I felt like I was in a single parent home because he was always working. He was a longshoreman, so he worked round the clock all the time. And not knowing, ever crossing paths, as we started dating, he grew up in a neighborhood probably about a half a mile up the street from where I lived at in Jacksonville, Florida.
Yep.
And both of us are preacher's children. Both of us are middle children. Both of us.
What's that? Number 4 in each family.
Yes,
family?
We're number 4. My mom lost a son in between me and my older sister, so it would have been 5 of us. So I would have been the middle child. if he would have lived. So we had a lot of commonalities in that retrospect. We both loved music. That was our jam. He was a percussionist. I sung in the choir in church, and we just love music. Every time we rode in the car, he had his music on. I had my music on. When we got married, we forever always played music in the house.
Brought our kids up, listened to it, even to our grandkids to this day.
So music is that thread that has been part of our marriage and our relationship as long as we can remember. I was not afraid of getting married early like I did, because in 9th grade, my life management teacher asked me, where did I see myself 5 years after I graduated from high school?
Right.
And I actually wrote out and described the type of husband I wanted.
Oh, wow.
You know, the characteristics I wanted in a husband. You know, I didn't want a husband that would tell me yes to everything I wanted. I wanted a husband that would tell me no, we got to take care of these things and these matters of the house first. And I respected that. And then there was times we came together when we was trying to work towards some goals, not just for me and him, but for the family in general.
Right, exactly. And so, piggyback off that, what you just said, Teresa, it made me thought about again what I mentioned about when two history collides. When you meet someone to come in contact for, you know, being in a relationship like me and you have been, and we've been together this long, and, you know, oftentimes, again, people say, how do y'all do it? Well, we did it because we communicate.
Yes.
You know, we sit down and both of us manage, you know, to go over the budgets and stuff.
Yes.
Especially for, like, myself being a man that grew up in a house without a father figure.
Right.
In the house like that. But one of the things that I did learn was I was able to watch, you know, my mother as she, you know, handled, you know, those bills and things like that. And then being growing up in church, right? You know, being a, you know, having a deacon, you know, they always call me Little Deek growing up like that. And so you take up offering and you learn how to be part of that financial department, you know, taking an offering. Then when I got in school, like elementary, Teresa.
Right.
One of the things we learned was, you know, home economics. You know, they taught different things like that. Well, I already knew how to do banking because, well, I did it in church and watching Mom, you know, go pay her bills and go to the bank with her as well.
That's why
go ahead.
I want to jump in here. This is why parents need to teach their kids early on, including their grandkids.
Yeah, that's
you know,
true.
how to count money, you know, how to save money, you know, because those skill sets will stay with them as long as they become an adult. Go
exactly.
ahead,
and so on the closing note of that when two history collide, because I came from a one-parent home and she came from a two-parent home, and we, you know, and they still had their rules and how their family tradition raised, and vice versa. So when we learn, you know, each other's lifestyle or their family history, we was able to use some of the components that both sides was able to do, and then we also was able to create our own. And sometimes what was shared from each side didn't work, right?
So that means we had to compromise.
We had to compromise, and not just only compromise. Sometimes it didn't fit for that life moment at that time of that season. So later on in life, you know, we was able to go back and retrack and say, oh, hey, it come up again. Here we go again. Right. So, but we didn't beat each other down.
No.
You know, we didn't fuss, and because I was the man of the house, and because, you know, that is the king of the house, and this is our castle man. Everything in our household, we should know how to do.
Right.
You wouldn't want nobody to come on the outside, and, you know, even though she got her family and I got mine, to come in and then clean your house, you know, pay your bills, you know, if your wife's sick, right? No, you take care of her. If you get to the point where you need assistance, then you go to the fall on your family. But not just say, hey, my wife's sick, I need somebody from her side of the family to come. No, that's my job. Right? That's the man's job to make sure that if that wife's not feeling good, you should be also participating, cooking, cleaning, raising the kids, you know, picking them up from school. Hey, we did it together.
Exactly. Always. And one thing I loved about Ernest, even though when I was sick and I was down like that, he would never let anyone in the family, church members or friends, see me undone.
No.
And not at my best.
No.
He shielded and protected me even when I was at my weakest and lowest point. Yeah. Because he did not want anyone to take advantage of me when I was at that vulnerable state.
Yeah.
And that was one thing I respected and loved him so much. And that's why it's important when you have sons, you have to teach them about chivalry.
Yeah.
You know, how to treat women, you know, like a lady, how to respect them, you know, in the home, between mom and your sisters. So that way when they get in public, they know how to demonstrate the same thing, and they know how to demonstrate that in the public with other women, not to be fresh and flirtatious,
exactly. Yeah.
but to show chivalry.
That's right.
And to be a gentleman.
Show
there's a difference.
That is a totally difference.
That's a difference. And one thing we did, we taught the boys they had to take mama out on the date first before they actually went on the date. So Ernest played the chauffeur.
Yeah.
And our sons, you know, was the ones that actually was taking me on the date. And we gave them a prepaid card to be able to teach them how to pay for the meal. Other words, teaching them to take a young lady to places that's not a nightclub, that's very aggressive, that's in an unsafe neighborhood, unsafe community, but somewhere nice and pleasant.
Yeah, because I mean, those other things will be good too later on in life and down the line as well. But you want to let them know that there are other nice things out there, what we call 5-star restaurant, 4 stars, etc.
Right.
But we definitely wanted to make sure that they was all around.
Exactly.
It was all around. Be responsible. One of the good things that I do want to share with you, Theresa, what I enjoy as well, when you was talking about being down, you know, things like that, vulnerable. You know, one of the things that I learned that I didn't have to learn and I didn't have to hesitate about it. If you wasn't feeling well, there was occasion where you had surgery and things like that, sometimes we have to take the lead where, you know, a lot of times they invite the sisters in, the moms in, the church people in, like you were saying earlier, and bathe you and clothe you and make sure that you're fine and well kept and stuff like that. No, it's good that I did that job.
Right.
And you know, because if I was down and sick, you know, it's common to see a woman do all these things for the man.
Right.
But it's very hard to find a man to bathe his own wife.
Exactly.
Right? You love her, right? You take care of her, right?
Right.
You know, and then there come times when y'all two come together, you know, as far as intimacy and love chat, right?
Right.
And yet you can't take the time out and stay home and bathe her.
But
Prepare her food. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes if you have to go to work, prepare her that meal before she leaves. Before you leave, prepare her a meal so if she can get up enough to get in the kitchen or whatever, or just sit by a bed, something that don't spoil, and she can have that in between and something to eat. And when you come on, sometimes even on my lunch break, you know, I used to come by and still check on you, right?
You did.
So we want to make sure. I want to make sure that even if she went in the hospital and before anybody come visit her, I made sure that you just ain't to see her any kind of way. Cause why? I had to make sure that she have nice bed gowns and things like that. Make sure her hair and all that done. I don't want nobody coming in. The doctor done, you know, done did all that stuff. Got Band-Aid and all kind of surgery tape on you, right? And you just looking any kind of way. No.
But that's a good point because that's also demonstrating part of the wedding vows.
That's
in
right.
Sickness and in health.
That's right.
And it's not that you were being controlling and you didn't want nobody to help. It was the fact you was acting out the marital vows.
That's right.
And that was when I was in sickness, when I was recovering from my dealing with my ovarian cancer that I've been in remission now going on close to 18 years, and now overcoming opioids from invisible illnesses like fibromyalgia and hypertension and vertigo and rheumatoid arthritis. I mean, I've had a lot of health challenges, and the one constant person I always could count on was my husband to be there in my vulnerability. And he did that to check on me on lunch break and to do all those things so I could get rest and recover. And not have the home be a revolving door with family and friends who's keeping me up, having me talking, having me laughing, and I'm not rested. And then when he get home, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, I'm ready to go to sleep, and I can't spend that time with him.
But you know, Therese, even when it ain't a major situation where you in the hospital or laying on your back, even when a woman just ain't feeling good, period.
Right.
You know, because sometimes when they get home from work or just in the course of the day, they may just come home from church, they may not feel good, right?
True.
And so, you know, when we had the kids and all, there still comes a time when a man has to go ahead and let you rest. And that's what I did. I let you rest. I didn't make you say, hey, baby, when you get off from work, you come home and cook. No, I cook. right?
Right.
And sometimes I didn't have to come home first, or a lot of times we rode together because we had one car.
Right.
And then sometimes if she home first, she'll start stuff. If she didn't feel good, I still come home and prepare, and she'll prepare. And that has been many times from even going to doctor visits, Theresa.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Just even, I mean, I'm a workaholic. But when it was time for you to go to hospitals and check up,
right.
yeah, I didn't let nobody go in my place.
Exactly.
That's
he was
right.
always there.
And you there for me like that.
Always. And like that, we also shared the responsibilities, making sure the boys' homework was done every night.
Oh, my God.
We had a system. On Sunday, after church, that was time where we prep and we get ready for the whole week.
The whole week.
So, Ernest's role was to...
I do all the ironing for everybody's clothes for the whole week.
And the boys wore uniforms at that time. So, they had the uniform shirt, the pants. We had to get underclothes out. We had to get tennis shoes out. Sometimes then I will check homework, make sure all planners are signed, make sure all the homework is done. So, every Friday when the boys came home from school, they had to bring all their books home. So, whatever they didn't finish in school earlier that week, they worked on it that weekend, and they get it turned back in by that Monday, or either prepare for any tests they got coming up next week.
Now, Theresa and I are doing all this prepping and all this stuff what we're talking about. Now, remind you all,
yes,
we was dedicated going to church as well as going to our full-time job.
Yeah, we was full-time ministry,
yes.
full-time working,
my God.
sometimes full-time job, part-time job, and full-time ministry.
Yeah.
The boys in extracurricular activities after school. If it wasn't band, it was football.
It was something.
It was drama team in church. I was involved with, certain auxiliaries in ministry. So was Earnest. So, I mean, we would leave our house pitch black in the morning at 5 a.m.
in the morning.
And then come home pitch black at night. Yeah. And the boys didn't catch the school bus. So we transported them back and forth to school.
All 12
years of their education. So they never rode the school bus.
Oh, that ain't counting even when you were going to college back and forth.
Yeah, that's true.
That ain't counting when I was going and looking after, doing lawn services and things like that, repair houses and paint. I'm talking about our life was just, sometimes we didn't realize how we was doing this.
Right, and a lot of people didn't realize how we did everything and was able to stay on top of everything.
Exactly.
So it required us to really had to work as a team, not just to create and build family and for love, but also to work toward creating our sons to be not dependent but independent. And
then even days where we had just our regular days off and things like that, or I was just thinking about how much time I had to spend with the boys outside and teaching them, outdoors, how to, do things outdoors, build clubhouses on. Sometimes I would just take them and just take them off and go show them riding bicycles, ride around in the city and take them to places. And
now, y'all was doing all that when I was at school. So I wouldn't be with them, y'all. I would be in class somewhere at night.
Exactly.
And he would, while they're waiting for me to get out of class, because again, we only had one car.
Yep.
That was the time he spent that quality time, taking them to the park, if there was one at my school, taking them, walking, taking them back riding, taking them to the beach, to the waterfront.
Oh my God.
Teaching them how to change a tire when the tire, or change the oil in the car.
You said we only had one car. Even when we had two cars, that was time we had 3 and 4 cars, and big houses and nice things and like that. But we was able to make it work.
Exactly what we had.
And then sometimes you say, well, didn't you miss a lot of fun and traveling and stuff? No, we did that too.
Yep.
We did that on birthdays. We call what me time, and holidays. Sometimes we just say, hey, we're going out. We're just gonna get a hotel somewhere.
It will be spontaneous because we couldn't plan anything. Because during that time, he worked the night shift. I worked the days because it was an issue with childcare. We couldn't get the people that care for our boys to make sure their homework was done. So we had to split 9 years of our marriage.
Yes.
Ernest had to work that night shift, which sometime would be overnight.
Yeah, it would definitely be overnight.
During the day, so when he gets off in the morning, we've already gone for the day. So a lot of times we didn't get a chance to see each other but one day a week on Sundays.
Yeah.
And that's where your love has to be really strong for each other and your marriage. And that's why we keep saying communication is key. We just didn't call and text each other when it was an emergency. We called and checked on each other just because.
Just because, and to make sure that everything was well. And even when you talked about that night shift and things, and we had one car and stuff like that, and these was time when we really had one car.
Yeah.
And that was time when I let her keep the car all the time. All the time. In other words, if I had to walk to work, I walked to work, caught the bus. If I had to ride my bicycle, I rode the bicycle, and she still had the car. I didn't care if they went all over the world or Jacksonville, anywhere. It didn't matter. Because why? I always feel like the woman and the kid should have the car. And if I wanted to get somewhere, I'm the man. Then, you know, if it's possible where the things oftentimes came where she didn't really have to use a car for anything, and there wasn't no church night or activity night, whatever. Very rarely, even then, I would still say no. I'll walk to work, I catch the city bus, or ride the bike, and a lot of times she'll drop me off and pick me up. And a lot of times when we had to do that situation where I ain't had no choice but to ride the bicycle, Teresa, or walk, because why? Like I said, our kids ain't never caught a yellow bus. No. Nor the city bus. No. Even though I trained them how to catch the city bus.
When they got older.
But they never caught the yellow bus.
Right.
Because why? Our plan and structure was, we know we was going to lose out on some good activities being together, but we didn't miss a lot. Because we had a lot of fun.
Right.
We had a lot of fun. And planning was one of the big obligations.
Always. So we just wanted to share you a little bit what 34 years we'll be celebrating this year. Me and him both didn't never think or even imagine, to live long enough to see it.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't trade anything in the world. This is my life partner. This is my best friend, my ride or die. This is the person I can cry with, the person I can have courageous, critical conversations with. The person that will tell me the truth and, tell me, compliment me often, appreciate and celebrate me just like the first day when we met, which that was so fun. But to let you guys know, we are writing a marriage book because we do get asked the question a lot. How did we do it? What was our secret? How did we stay together so long? Do we go through issues with family members and siblings and stuff? Yes, we have our moments. We have our good days and our bad days.
And Teresa, even with ourselves, where we come to every life of years go by, it always brings something new or something the same or something in the past may come up again, because that's just the way, how they say, as the world turns, and sometimes things will come back up again. And when we are, me and Teresa, me and you get to the place where we're not abusive to each other.
No, we're never physical abusive.
And if we ever come to a disagreement, and a lot of times, and we realize it's okay, because I talked about that when two history collides, because everything that she still may be learning, she have a whole long history to it from her generation and mine as well. We don't make it where we are fighting with each other about it.
Right. No one person is dominant over the other.
And even with problems and stuff and trials and stuff, and we have our agreement and we have our disagreement. And then we also have what Teresa said one time earlier in the statement, we compromise.
Right.
Yes, we compromise. And then, like you were saying, complimenting, things about her, complimenting her, encouraging her. We pray for each other
all the time.
All the time. So
for healing, for strength, when one is down, the other one is up. Everything that we're sharing and discussing with each of you, that makes up Black love. But what makes it even more amazing is that everything that we've shared with you briefly, it is part of the marital vows.
Yeah.
It's saying in sickness and in health, for rich or for poor, which both of us have lost our jobs at the same time one time. That's why I say y'all got to read the book. We got some stories for you.
Yes.
And then
so
until
really
death do you part. Right.
I'm sorry, baby, go ahead.
No, you're fine. No. So we're just hitting some nuggets that we want to share with you. This week we're celebrating our anniversary. loving on each other, because we have a lot to be thankful for, that we're still among the land of the living with this pandemic.
Because I can tell you now, there's time during our marriage, we've been in an accident where we literally almost came to losing our life.
Yes.
And things like that. We even had where people itself wanted, us separated, by all kind of confusion and, people sometimes even in a physical way. But we know at the same time, because our faith is to believe in God, Jesus Christ, and Holy Spirit for protection and love us, and we, praise and worship them, right? They are God we serve. And so, but they kept us through these things. They kept us through our jobs where, the jobs didn't treat us right. It's a lot of components, pieces we're talking about and we're mentioning, because we want you to know that it's a lot of areas that we know a lot of people are dealing with. And so sometimes, we can't just give you all the nuggets and the meat of what we're saying.
Right. Yeah. And marriage, it takes work, but we don't. Again, my husband mentioned earlier, we're never have an abusive relationship. We never have. That's one thing I can truly say. For 34 years, Earnest Sr. has never raised his hand, threatened me to do any type of bodily or physical harm, any emotional, mental harm. If anything, we walk away, cool off, pray, and before the sun go down on the wrath, according to Scripture, we make it right. But
then a good thing too, Teresa, with that added to it, a lot of times abuse don't have to be the physical, just verbal, mental. Sometimes just doing habit little things. And a lot of times me and her have a strong agreement. If it's something that you see something that I'm doing may offend you, say something.
Right.
We both have that, and this is what we're talking about. This is how you learn abusive things and abusive ways, because sometimes you could say, "Oh, baby, it's okay," and it's not okay because you feel in some kind of way. No, you need to say something.
Right.
Or if you do something in a habit to say, "Hey, you bring me my food, and I don't tell you thank you." Okay, no, thank you, sweetie. A lot of times we take advantage of that, and we don't look at it as an abusive behavior or pattern on these little things, Another thing too, I'm gonna let you finish the last piece out, Teresa. A lot of times you don't have to wait for her birthday. Man, you don't have to wait for birthdays and all that. Always think about her, something that she may see, like you say, in the window shopping. Go get her a card or something if you don't know what to say. And don't wait for birthdays and holidays.
Right.
Don't wait for a marriage counseling or for a marriage book or somebody to tell you to do something nice for your woman.
Right. Be creative.
Yeah,
be creative. Like we said again, don't always just call and check on your spouse when it's emergency or 911.
That's a good point.
Always call and just check in just because.
Hey,
If they on a job where they can't talk, a text message will suffice.
Yeah.
An emoji will suffice.
Well, I like what you used to do with me, Teresa. Sometimes just drop by and say, "Hey, I'm going to bring you something to eat." And what?
That's true.
Yes.
I would drop spontaneously bring him a snack, bring him a smoothie, something to cool him off, because he worked outside a lot, to make sure he was safe. Yep. So we just wanted to share our Black love story with you, and there is so much more to come in the book. So hopefully this time next summer that the book will be out, as well as you can get some tips, some tricks, some nuggets, and all those good things, so you can work at that marriage and make it the best relationship you've ever had.
Good old lifestyle. They say answers and solutions.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a supper for the year. Answers and solutions.
So married couples, we just want to encourage each of you that Earnest Sr. and Theresa Gamble want to encourage you that Black love is magic when you work at it.
It's a holy place. I want to hear that because you got me.
Outro. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You've been listening to Courageous Conversations with Theresa W. Gamble. Courageous Conversations is powered by Concierge Resource Professional Consultants. Would you like to be a guest and have your stories, lessons, and best practices be captured in our audio encyclopedia? We're currently reviewing applications for future guests to join us, and we're especially interested in creating space for long-standing or multi-generational Black-owned businesses. For more information and to be considered, please email info@CRPCNOW.com to request an application. And remember, do not get weary in well-doing. You shall reap if you faint not. Galatians chapter 6, verse 9.